Hey guys, they say a picture paints 1,000 words. So there's this photo I have from 1984, and this one brings back good memories because this was what they call the Tredia race, and this was a very special race thanks to my friend Chu Ti Wong, who was then the marketing manager of Cycle and Carriage, and they were the distributors for the Mitsubishi brand at that time. So this Tredia was a very special 4-speed 1600cc front-wheel drive car, and it had another speed gear, they call it. It was like the two final drives. So there was a lower gear and a higher gear. So in effect, you had something like 8 gears. There were 2 gear levers, and with a bit of rowing up and down, you could manage to get like 5 or 6 speed out of it. And then Cycle and Carriage had this idea. Of course, it was Mr. Chu Ti Wong's idea. Thanks very much. He had the idea to pit 5 Malaysian drivers against the best 5 Australian drivers. Actually, I don't know if they were the best 5 Australian drivers, but there were 5 Australian drivers who were selected. And then they selected 5 Malaysian drivers. And I think, if I remember correctly, it was myself, William May, Zulkifli Hassan, then there's Gary Chua and Yung Yin Fa. So these were the 5 Malaysian supposedly top drivers lah. And we were given 5 cars, and the Australians had 5 cars. There were 2 colors, 5 of each. I think one was sort of like cream and one was like grey. And so what they did was we drew lots to see which group would select what color. So we selected the 5 cars, and then amongst us, we drew lots to get the cars within our group. So there were 5 Malaysian cars of one color, 5 Australian cars of another color. All were identical cars. And then we drew lots to pick up our own car within our group. Then we went for qualifying. And of the 10 cars that went out, we were sorted out according to our lap times in qualifying, and I ended up in pole position. Then the rest were like, there was no segregation by color, but whoever clocked the fastest time was in front, and then second fastest, and so on and so forth. So in the first qualifying, the top 4 were Malaysians, and then there was an Australian, then another Malaysian, and the other Australians were at the back. So maybe they were not used to front-wheel drive lah. And anyway, after qualifying, we went for the first race. That was on day 1. I was in pole position because I clocked the fastest time, and that gave me a bit of an advantage. So I led that first race from start to finish, and I won. And then the next day, there was another race. But this time, what they did was we had to exchange keys. And because I was first, I had to exchange key with the car that was last, and there was an Australian. I can't remember who it was, but I took supposedly the slowest car. And then second position went to the 9th position, and so on and so forth. And then the last one, 5th, swapped with 6th. And then on the second day, because of my finish in the first day, I was also given pole position, and this time, I actually felt the car was a lot slower, but still, because I was in pole position, that still gave me a bit of an advantage, and I had a tough time fighting off the second person, who was a Malaysian driver, and he was closing in all the time, but I managed to just stave him off, and this time the gap wasn't as big. On day 1, I had a big gap, like maybe 8 or 9 seconds to the second person. But on day 2, I just managed to win by a nose, but I won. Yeah. So that was a very memorable race for me. I won both the day 1 and day 2, and so I was crowned what you call the Celebrity Race Champion 1984. So that is the story of this Tredia race, and in the picture you can see my lovely wife and also my 2 boys who were very, very young at the time. That is Ivan and Ian. See if you can recognize them. All right, thanks for watching. And if you like this type of story, please give it a like and let us have your comments. And we will have more of these because we do have some pictures left from my racing days. I have to dig them out, but well, yeah. So every picture can tell a story, and we have lots of stories to tell. Thanks very much for watching, and bye bye.